Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Michelle Berg with Berg Consulting and Joyful Websites. And I want to share with you today one of my favorite tools for WordPress. It is a game changer in my opinion, and I've been using it now for a few years and it just keeps getting better and better. What it is a page builder. It is called Beaver Builder. And if you haven't heard of a page builder, just to give you a quick overview on that, it is a tool that allows you to place content on a website page in a way that looks very pleasing to the eye and is very easy to update or make changes to. There are a few different page builders out there. Divi and Elementor are two other ones that you will frequently hear people talk about. The reason that I like Beaver Builder better than those two, I don't think that you hear about it as frequently because their marketing seems to be a little bit more driven towards the agency. And I actually really like that. If you have a single website and you're making some changes and you're using tools and you discover a bug or something's not quite working right, on one website it is a pain, it is really frustrating, but it's a small problem most of the time. If you're using a tool and you have that on 100 or 150 or 200 websites that you're managing for clients, one little bug turns into 100 little bugs or 150 or 200 bugs. You get the idea. And it is a problem that spirals out of control, can take a lot of time and energy to manage the issue, to manage clients' needs, to manage all of that. And as an agency, we need to have tools that are really dependable and really strong in their core, and Beaver Builder does that very, very well. They are really focused on that foundation and building that solid core. There are add-ons available that expand what Beaver Builder does. You can choose to use those or not. It just depends on what you're looking for in a site. Some of the other tools out there, the other page builders, tend to like to have kind of flashy, look at this is an exciting new feature. And those are great. They're a lot of fun. I don't know about you, but I kind of suffer from that shiny object syndrome and can get easily distracted. And I think that it's helpful to occasionally have one or two things that are kind of fun and exciting and unique on your website. But most of the flashy things that you can do with some of these tools is a distraction from your message. You really want a fairly simple website where the design is there to complement your message, but your message is able to really shine through and get the attention that it deserves. And I think Beaver Builder does that really, really well. It's also totally responsive. It works as a drag and drop type system, which is fairly easy to use. You can do things on one site and create your own templates. You're able to export those and then import them into a completely different site if you want. So if there are some layouts and things that you use consistently, you are able to save those and bring them into other sites if you want. And their support is just amazing. If you do have an issue, they are quick, they are really pleasant, and they're fun. And I just find them to be extremely helpful and kind in that process. They also have a very large community of users out there. So there are groups on Facebook. You'll see one link here. I'm in this group, and I find the people in there to be just top-notch professionals who are willing to share their knowledge and their skills to help you achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. They also have a group on Slack. I'm not a Slack lover, so I'm not familiar with that group, but I would guess that it is just as amazing as the group on Facebook. You'll also find other groups on Facebook that are specific to add-on tools. There's a group for advanced users. There are some groups that are for people that are using Beaver Builder with a specific other set of tools. So you have a lot of options out there to get support. It's a really wonderful community. Let's get started a little bit and talk about the back end here, and I'll show you some features, some great things that this tool can do for you. Right now what you've been seeing on your screen is, on the video here, is the settings page. And I always come in here to begin with because I have to enter my license and get everything hooked up and working properly. The other pieces in here that are really great, there's this list of modules here. This just gives you an idea of all of the different kind of widget things that you can add into a page and do it with ease. These modules make adding a video or adding a button or just plugging in some HTML so much easier than having to code and figure out where to put things and get them to line up properly, or go elsewhere to add in some code that's going to show up on this page. So they're just, these options are amazing, and the add-ons that are available out there will expand this list in a huge way. There are so many wonderful tools out there, but this for most sites will give you what you need. The second tab I want to talk about is this Post Types tab. You can use Beaver Builder on both pages and on blog posts or other kinds of posts. I tend to stick to using it for pages. Pages just need a little bit more finessing, in my opinion. Most blog posts are fairly simple in nature. There's some text, there's a couple of images, and it's just easy and quick to use the built-in WordPress editor that works well for most blog posts. There are also some other tools that allow you to change the layout a little bit of what the blog post will look like by default, but then they will all stay consistent. You're not going to have one blog post looking a certain way with a certain layout and then another blog post looking completely different and having a completely different look and feel and layout. By using this add-on tool that I frequently use just to kind of set up that core. But for most sites, the built-in WordPress editor works phenomenal, and the pages are where you really see the benefit and the value of using something like a page builder. That's just my personal opinion. The next tab here I want to talk about is templates. There are several built-in templates in Beaver Builder. When I first started using the tool, I did play with them a little bit, and it is really nice if you don't have kind of an idea of how to best lay out your content. You can sometimes find a template that is very close to what you need and will help you get started, and you have to just change out the text and change out the images, make some other adjustments so that it fits with your brand and your message. I leave them all enabled, even though I don't tend to use them for, I guess, the same reason that I leave the modules activated. I just don't want to come in here into someone's site because I am managing so many of them and see, you know, certain modules on one site and then different ones on another site. For me, I think I'd panic and feel like, I know that's supposed to be in here, this module is supposed to be here, and it's not, I can't find it anywhere. And I would go to thinking that something was wrong, when in fact I had just customized it. And so to avoid any of that for myself, I just leave it all the same. The other one here is the icon settings. You have all of these different options available for accessing icons that are available out there to add to your website. What you see checked here is what's checked by default. The only reason these other ones aren't checked, I just haven't had a chance to really check them out, and I can typically find what I need from the other ones that are checked by default, and so I just use those to select an icon when I need one. The last one I want to talk about is the cache. If you're not familiar with what a cache is, it basically means that it is saving a copy, so to speak, of your website content on a page or a post. And most caching systems, well, not all, allow you to say, you know, cache this page because I don't change it very much, but I do change this one a lot, and I need it to be dynamic, so don't cache this one. But caching can cause some issues when you're updating your site. You may not see your changes show up right away because it's pulling up an old version of the page. They tend to clear periodically, but in development, periodically isn't good enough. You really need them to clear right away. So you can come in here into the tools and click on clear cache, and it's going to clear the Beaver Builder cache. It's going to clear some of these optimizers that you see listed, and it's going to clear some caching that hosting companies use just by default on all their sites so that it keeps their servers running better. And you'll want to do that. I don't have this plugin I'm about to share with you activated because I really wanted to make sure you were only seeing things that came with Beaver Builder here in this video. But there is a little plugin out there that you can add to your site. It's called Beaver Builder Cache or Beaver Builder Delete Cache, and it adds a little button right up here in your admin bar that allows you to just click on that to delete your cache rather than having to come in here and do it in the back end. And I put that on all of my sites because it's just a much easier space to access that cache from and keep it cleared regularly. There is also another add-on that I recently purchased, love it, called Beaver Team Pro, I believe. The reason I bought it is because, for example, if you were to decide that you want all of your header text, instead of being blue, to be green, it allows you to make a change someplace in one spot and then say, I want all of this updated to green instead of blue. And with the click of a button, it'll go site-wide, look for that code, and change them all. It has to be using the same class, some of the same coding. I don't want to get too complicated here, but so sometimes you'll have to do that a couple of times. You'll have to find the content and then change it in a couple different places, but it is so much faster than having to go through your entire site and hand find all of the things you want to change and change them. The other thing that it does is it kind of has this built-in cache clearing system. So it is constantly clearing the cache when you're working on it, and you don't have to click an outside button or anything. You can just let the plugin do its thing, and it is amazing that you don't have to deal with that when you're in development. So those are all the settings and kind of a foundation of some of the things that are available. Let's move over into creating a new page, and I'm going to just name it test page, so that I can easily find it and delete it when I'm done. Couple things here. By default, this is what a blank page looks like. You can see we haven't styled the header or the footer, and that is done outside of the page builder, so I'm not going to be talking about that in this video, but it's really easy to do. But you see this screen here open up by default, and if you're looking for specific modules or things, you can search in here. But you're going to see some different options here if you want to look at different lists. So standard modules are the ones that are coming with the page builder, with Beaver Builder. WordPress widgets are built in to WordPress either by default or because of another plugin that you're using. And then saved modules would be if you were to take a module and create it in a way that you want every module of that type to look on your site, you can save that and they would show up here, and that way anytime you needed to add that module to someplace else on your site, you just would grab it here, and then the look, you change out the content if you need to, but the look would stay the same and you'd have that consistency throughout your site. So there are, as you can see, there's a lot of modules available. There are add-ons that you can get out there that increase this, add even more function to your site, so that's a lot of fun. I have a couple of those that I use regularly and love. Ultimate add-ons is one, and Power Pack is the other. Next, we'll look at this rows and columns piece. So when you are designing a website, you kind of want to think about it in a grid, and most people look at it in thirds. And so thirds, and you see halves more, sometimes quarters, but always think of it in terms of a grid. And to get started, if you kind of know what your page is going to look like, you can select the number of columns that you need and lay them out. If I say I want a big banner at the top of my page, I put that in there. Let's say I want something that needs 3 columns. I'm going to put that next. Let's say my next piece is going to have 2 columns. I still personally like to kind of stick with this consistency as much as possible, so probably going to do something like that so that we're still sticking with the thirds. And you're getting kind of this nice layout, nice grid. And then you would go in and pick the modules that you want. So if we're choosing a header for here, you come into your media library and upload a new picture and just plop it in. It's nice and slick. You have some other options here in terms of how, if you want it cropped, how you want it aligned, if you want the caption to show, if it should link to something. And then pretty much every module tab has this advanced tab over here. This allows you to adjust margins. It allows you to sometimes adjust padding depending on the module. It allows you to say what type of a device you want this displayed on. Sometimes when we're designing for a mobile device, we simplify the site so that it's easier to view and more user-friendly. And so that is where something like this might come into play. And then the visibility, you can choose to never have it show up, always show up, and then, based on whether someone is logged in or out, if you have a site that's requiring them to log in or out to see certain content. There is a little bit of animation that you can add here, some nice fade in, slide left or right, slide up or down, nice features, used sparingly. It goes back to that whole simple websites convert best when they the design complements your message, doesn't interfere with it. If you are setting up some sort of animation, you can delay it. I have a little bit of that on my website. I will pull that up here for you. You'll see on the home page here, when you come down here, these slide in a little bit one after the other. So they are set to, this one slides in right away, this one slides in a few seconds later, this one a few seconds later, this one a few seconds later, and they alternate in going up and down. And that's about the only, this chunk here is about the only section that I have that has some fancy footwork, if you will, on it. And then the last part here makes it so nice and easy if you are a little bit more into coding to be able to create an ID or a class. And I'm not going to get too much into that in this video, but I want to mention it, that it makes it really easy to say, to add some custom coding for styling something if you need to, or having it, work a certain way. And you can just type those in here and then use that within your code, whatever you type in here, to make it just really easy to add that extra code. I should mention here, the one thing I forgot to mention, we'll just throw this back in here to show, this Save As button. That is the button that allows you to save this module. You can also save rows, save columns. You have quite a bit of variety, but that will allow you to use this same module over and over again and keep consistent with the look and feel of it. Let's play a little bit with a template just so that you can, that's going to ask me, and we're just going to replace the existing layout because there's nothing really there that matters. And so this is how the templates work. I just picked one, threw it in here, and now I can easily look for the blue box that tells me I'm on that section and make changes. So this, you can see, is full width. Content area here is fixed width, and there you have some other options with colors, type, and you just change out the photo. So if you chose a template to use, all you have to do is come in here in that row and remove this photo and put in the photo that you want. Decide about some positioning. The default usually works pretty well. You can add an overlay if you want to add, this one has white on it right now at 50%. So if we were to put that at 100%, you can see you no longer can see the picture. You can adjust it however you want, depending on how much of the picture you want to show through. You can add a border. Same type of advanced features over here. Here you're seeing the padding. And this little thing here is a desktop. So you also can kind of get a rough idea of what it's going to look like on a mobile device. This is for a tablet and this is for a phone. So you can take a look, see if it looks the way you want, make adjustments if you need to. These are some nice features that are available. Some quotes, so kind of a scrolling testimonial piece. These are the icons that I was talking about, an example of how those might be used. So you see just some features in action here with this template, a sign-up box, the footer. But clicking on this allows you to see what it'll look like on that device roughly, because the templates all kind of, or tablets kind of all vary in size, as do mobile phones. They're all a little bit different. They'll give you a rough idea, and you can definitely see any big issues that you need to resolve. And you can just make some adjustments based on the device type. You don't have to change everything for every device, just adjust the ones that you need to adjust. So that is nice and simple. You see here, this is an example of a heading, which you'll see over here, headings. This is a text area, this is a button module, and all of these, click on them and you'll see all the different options. So you can change text, change colors, change positions, change the link, and you can style the button to what color it is when you hover, what color it is just by default. You can adjust width, padding, corners, the rounding of the corners. So every module has its own set of settings so that you can use that module to its greatest potential. So you're seeing here, this is a number counter. So it's making that adjustment. That's kind of a fun feature. Some more text in the 3-column format. This here is a testimonials widget. Allows you to put in multiple testimonials and customize how you want it to look and work. Again, these are icons, and then a little text box. You've got another heading, another text box, button, and number counters that are used a different way. Some photos, a little sign-up box. So you can see that you have a lot of options and some variety in the look and feel of your site. And these are just, using some templates that are already built in. They're using the basic features that are available. And here's kind of a unique one for a photographer. One of the few times that a dark background works well. It tends to highlight photography very nicely. But you do want to be careful with how much text you have on a dark background because it's a little challenging to read. But again, you can see all the different options that are available with the different templates. So these are all kind of using different tools that are available through Beaver Builder that are built in, accessible to you right away. All you need to do to make your changes is hover over and find the blue box that you want to change, and it'll bring up the smaller box. You make your changes and you'll save it. Icon again, some text, image. Here's a comparison chart, a pricing table, and so you can have multiple pricing options there. So it kind of gives you an idea. So it's pretty easy to use. And you can just click and drag. Let's say you decided you didn't want these in columns. It is as simple as clicking and dragging things around so that they sit someplace else. And I love that about it. It just makes it so easy to use. Most of these boxes do just drag, but you do want to make sure that if you're choosing to do that, that you're not impacting other rows. So you see how these also move when I move this one, because they're all kind of packaged together in this section. If they're not, then you can adjust them a little bit easier. You also have this section over here. Here's where you would save a template. So if you liked this whole page and knew that you were going to reuse it multiple times, you might want to save it as a template. You can view revisions that you've made and go back to a previous version if you feel like you've maybe gone in a direction you didn't want to go. That's a nice feature. You can do some custom coding right here that would apply only to this page. Some global settings, you change it to a dark or light, go to the WordPress admin, get some help, keyboard shortcuts, that kind of thing. So lots of options. When you're done designing your page, you can just click on done, and if you know that you don't want to keep it, you can just discard everything you've done if you're just playing, or you've made a mess and just want to delete it. If you're not ready for it to go live, this is really a helpful tool when you're making changes that you aren't quite ready to show to someone else and you want the original version to continue to show up. You just save it as a draft, and you won't see it again until you come back into the Beaver Builder for this page, and no one else will see it until you're ready to publish. And once you publish, it is live and everyone can see it. And I'm just going to discard everything that we've done and back out of here. So hopefully that gives you a rough idea of what is possible with the page builder itself. It is, like I said, just a tool that I adore. I love the drag and drop feature. I love that it's so responsive and you have the ability to make some fine tweaks if you need to work well on different devices. I love the ability to save modules and templates and to export those templates to be used on another site. I love how great their support is, and not just the company but also the community. It does work well with most themes. Most popular themes out there, you'll find that it works great with. I've used it with Genesis. Beaver Builder also has their own theme, and that is the one I primarily use. Astra is another one that I see people talk about a lot. It's just a very clean, simple theme. And you can see that because you're doing so much within the page itself, you don't actually need much of a theme. So those really basic, simple ones are all you need to be able to work really well with this. There's a light version available. Honestly, I have not tried that because I just did the demo and was in love and went ahead and purchased it. The light version does not have as many options available to use for modules and features, but there are people out there that use it and find that it takes care of everything that they need. That light version is free. I love that you can use it for both the posts and pages and kind of pick and choose what makes most sense for you and for your site. And now one other thing that I didn't touch on that I want to is that this tool actually works amazing for funnels and for landing pages. Sometimes I get a little frustrated when I hear people say that you need to use lead pages or ClickFunnels or whatever other tool is out there to build a landing page or a funnel. You don't. There are themes out there that are page builders that handle that quite well. I use just this built-in version for my funnels and landing pages, and all you need to do is come right over here, click on this, and choose the no header footer option, and you can duplicate any funnel, any landing page you can create in here that you can create in another system. If you're getting very complex, yes, you're going to need to take a look at payment processors if you're doing a funnel for a product that you're selling. So there are some pieces that you may need to find solutions for. But in general terms, for building your mailing list, for offering opt-in type things, for inviting people to challenges, and for selling something that you want to have available on your site, it's pretty easy to do right in here with these tools that are this at its core. So I hope that you have found this to be helpful. It's run a little bit longer than I wanted, but I really wanted to make sure that I kind of highlighted all of the different areas that I could without sampling every single module out there, but to give you a really strong idea of what this plugin is capable of and what it can do for you in terms of creating your site. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. If you watch this video, let me know. Give me a little thumbs up, a like, and if you love this video and found it to be helpful, go ahead and click on that heart. I appreciate the love, and it will keep me creating more and more of these to highlight the tools that I use for both website development and for running my business. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.